Hi all, welcome to Cyber Warfare Lab's AWS Cloud Red Team course. In this module, we will discuss about how we can take advantage of AWS IAM to getting the initial access, inside a AWS environment. So initial access means how we can compromise on how you can access the AWS services. So this is what are the way we can get the initial access. So here we are discussing about IAM. So how we can take advantage of IAM to getting the initial access. So you can see here in the diagram, we have, there is in this section you can see here we have three things to getting the access of AWS services. The first one is AWS portal. Second one is we have a control plane, and third one is we have a data plane. So basically you can see the portal which is called management portal or management console, which is allow users to manage the services or permissions and all these things from a user interface, and this is accessible using console.aws.amazon.com. Now second thing is, if you want to access directly a control plane, you can access this control plane through CLI or API, which is directly hit this control plane, whatever thing you are going to do. Suppose you want to create a EC2 instance, you can directly hit this thing and it will be performed here in control plane, whatever action you want to perform and whatever action it's going to have. Suppose if you want to run an instance, it will be start instance in data plane. So this is how it's work. So suppose if you want to change something, you want to start a EC2 instance, you can do it using a management portal or console portal, and it will be basically hit in the control plane, and actually it will be executed in data planes. You can directly hit through CLI or API. This is how we can get the initial access, how we can access the services. So one thing is you can access the services using this user interface, the management portal. To access the management portal, we need a user ID as well as password. But if you want to access through a control panel, you need access of a secret as well as token. Same thing, if you want to access through API or SDK, you need a secret as well as token. So let's practically demonstrate about how we can get access through a CLI. So suppose if a user or if an attacker compromised any developer machine and attackers got a valid secret as well as key as well as secret from his machines, and then after he can configure his own machines and CLI to perform all the actions. So how they can configure it? So you can see here, to configure this one we need this command. To configure the CLI we need this command. So I'm going to configure here. Let's close this there. Perfect. Now you have to specify the profile name. So profile means demo. Now what I need AWS access key. So suppose the attackers compromised the access key. This is the key ID they need. I specify the key ID. Then they need this access secret key. The reason you can leave it a default. None, that's all. So what next? And where this thing is stored? So this is stored in AWS directory. You can see here, all the secrets key and access key will be stored here along with their profile set. So you can have a multiple keys here. So it will be stored there in this directory. So there may be a lot more way, so you can compromise the key and you can misuse it to getting the initial access. Okay, So now I am not sure the key is belongs to which user. So you can call API AWS STS get caller identity, and you can see here now I can access all the services with regards of the permission which is attached to this key. So I got admin users, the key which is here in default profile. Suppose if you specify the profile demo, you can see here the key which I compromised is a non-prev users key, and this is the account ID. So this is how you can explore, or you can say you can access all the services of AWS account, but it will restrict only the permission which is assigned to you or assigned to this key. Second thing, to getting the initial access, you can access through a password. How we can access through a password to this console or management console? So if you have a root user credentials, you can access through this URL. If you have an IAM user credential, you can access through this URL. So suppose I'm just copying this URL here. Open. Here you have to specify the account ID. So I can copy the account ID from here. This is the account ID. That's it. So this will allow you IAM user to access the AWS resources using management console. Now you need a valid user as well as credentials. Suppose I compromise through phishing or any other method. So username is this one and password is this one. This is you can compromise to any phishing or any other techniques. Let's leave it. So suppose I'm just using any other user. This is called incorrect because this user is not present in there. So I'm just outputting this admin or non-prev user, and I specify the credential here. It's called authentication field. Let's set user, or let's use another user admin. Perfect. So you can see here I got the initial access using user ID and password through management console. This is the management console. I can access the services or get the initial access through a secret access key. So this is how you can get the initial access in AWS environment to access the other resources. You can use your any programming language to configure your access key and access all the services which is there. So this is how you can get the initial access of AWS environment. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video.